Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sensei. Say what now? I'm your host, Nastasha Sensei, and today we're gonna do things a little differently. We're not gonna talk about teaching. I know, that's my whole shtick. But we're gonna talk a little bit about being social in Japan, or just social life in Japan. And why don't we just go ahead and get started? Because our first story comes to us from r/Japan Live, and it was posted 3 days ago from the time I took the screenshot, and I'm pretty sure I took the screenshot in December, so it's a fairly old story. And it's called Japanese Husband and Nomikais. So for all of you guys out there who don't know what a nomikai is, it's basically drink until you're drunk. No, okay, I'm oversimplifying it. It's a social gathering, usually happens after work, where coworkers go out for drinks and they get to know each other on a social level. It's basically what it is. Yeah, you're just drinking with your coworkers to get to know them on a social level, because you don't really do that at work. It's not really the culture here to do that at work. Anyways, let's get started. Currently a foreigner, married to my Japanese husband for about 5 years. Posting this here given the cultural context, but it's getting very difficult to deal with the amount of nomikais my husband has to attend each month. At least 4. Damn. So he going every weekend. This could lead to a problem. Plus long working hours. Sometimes 6 days a week and 12 to 14 hour long days once a week. Ooh, okay. I got a lot to say about that, because I was just talking to a student about the overwork in Japan. That's not even really overtime, because they have laws against overtime here. Ironically, but people still do it. I'm gonna save this thought for later. Gonna put a pin in this thought. I also have a full-time job, and we split house responsibilities. I clean, he cooks. That's what's up. Due to his greater involvement with work recently, he hasn't been holding up his end of the house responsibilities, and it's hard for us to mitigate due to my own work schedule and responsibilities. I try to help him when he has longer working hour days, because I understand he's tired, but I can't help but feel it's a bit unfair. Yeah, it is. I also just don't like seeing him drunk. Also fair. It makes me feel so anxious. And even if he's not drunk, whenever he does drink alcohol, he always talks in his sleep, and it disturbs my own sleep. Ugh, I don't know what's worse, a sleep talker or a sleep snorer. Hate it, hate it, hate it. That's why I prefer sleeping alone. We've had numerous convos about this. He says he participates only in the essential nomikais and is doing it to get along well with everyone and help to improve his promotion chances later down the line. We've tried setting times for him to come back from a nomikai, but he often ends up staying past the time we agreed on and comes back between 1 and 3 a.m. Oh, all right. Someone doesn't respect their wife. What pushed me to upload this today was that though I thought he had no more nomikais for this year, he decided to join one today randomly, and now I am left to deal with the cooking by myself again, and I'm also just aggravated that the expectation of not having to worry about another nomikai was completely shattered. My own work context, I'm fully remote, so I don't really have any work nomikais. That sounds like a dream. Even though, to be fair, I don't have any work nomikais. At least I'm not invited to any work nomikais. Because when I first started working here, which is like 6 years ago, I would often get invited to go out to drink, but I have this Western mentality that I don't know you like this, and I'm not trying to get to know you like that. Once we done working, I don't want to talk to you outside of work. And now I am more open to it, but I've pretty much set the seal, or sealed the deal, that people really don't invite me out, which I'm not upset about, because I got tired of saying no, I'm okay, thank you, have fun. That sounds like a blast. But no, enjoy yourself. So yeah, they have it in my company, but I just don't do it. Anyways, I digress. Has anyone been through a similar thing? How have you dealt with this in a way that honors both parties' wishes? Me personally, I have never dealt with this situation, but I thought it was interesting considering the social, what is it? I guess the social, what word am I looking for? It's not promise. Expectation. The social expectation to do these things here in Japan is very interesting to me because, like I said, back in the States, pretty sure a lot of my viewers are American, can agree that if you're not really cool with your coworkers, you're not finna go out and drink with them. Like, I've went out to drink a few times with coworkers when I worked in the hospital, and the one time that did not end up in my favor, it was kind of a wake up call for me to slow down on the drinking, because I did. I don't think I want to express that right now. I don't think I'm ready to go there right now. It's not a confessional. Maybe if I find some confessional episodes, then I'll confess that. But I'm not ready to talk about that right now. But anyways, it was an eye opener for me, and not just on a social level, but I kind of toned it down for a while. Anyways, let's get into some of these comments. So someone says, I mean, if he wants to get promoted and have a good working life with his colleagues, nomikai is the way to go about doing that. And someone replied to that, which is fucking stupid. And I have my sentiments exactly. Again, I know this is from a mindset that culturally we don't do stuff like that. Like, we get to know each other at work. At least that's how I got to know my coworkers, at work. And if I fucked with you, I'll be like, hey, do you want to hang out outside of work? And here, from my understanding, the expectation is that everybody has to drink. And I've heard these very extreme stories that you have to, if the boss drinks a lot, you have to keep drinking with the boss. So if you are a lightweight, you have to keep going because you don't want the boss to think that you little, I was gonna say pussy, but pussies, they know how to take a beating. So, you're a little weak. And it's I feel like this next comment will be able to explain or express what I can't put into words. So this commenter says, part of the problem here in this thread is the Western attitude towards it. The reason for the nomikai is so you can socialize and get closer together with your coworkers because they don't talk about personal life at actual work. Which I'm used to the opposite. I'm used to talking about personal life at work, especially during downtime. That's how you get to know people. That's how you get to know, like, if you want to hang out with this person outside of work. And the thing, I guess my problem with nomikais, or like the nomikai culture here, is that we cool at work, but then once I get to know the real you and I don't like you, then here we got a problem, because now I got to have this either uncomfortable situation and tell you, no, I'm okay, or just lie, which I probably might end up lying. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't feel like it, or I don't know. So it's like, I'd rather get to know you at work instead of outside of work when I'm not getting paid. It's like a double whammy. No, it's like a double. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You basically getting paid to get to know the person you work with while working. That's what I prefer. But anyways, I digress. Back to the comment. Maybe at lunch, let me go back. It's because they don't talk about their personal life at actual work. Maybe at lunch. Me personally, I don't really want to have lunch with people. I want to have lunch by myself. As a teacher who I literally get paid to speak, I don't want to speak in my lunch break. I will for a few minutes, but I just want to go to like a room by myself, eat my lunch, and doom scroll for like 10 minutes, or find some stories for this podcast. Like, anything but talk is what I want to do at my lunch break. So that's just me personally. Like I said, I am an ambivert. Well, actually, I never said that. I'm an ambivert, but it's in a lot of my bio profiles on my personal pages. And basically, an ambivert is a person who can like flow between introvert and extrovert. I like to stay in the middle, but I can teeter towards extrovertedness if I need to, which is what I do at work. And I can teeter towards introvertedness when my social battery is low, which is after work. So I'll be damned if I have to use the little I have left in my social battery. And I've done this a couple times, and I instantly regretted it. Because I'm like, we are talking about what we talked about at work. Bruh. Worst 30 minutes of my life. I could have been home. could have been home. I digress. All right. I think too many people dismiss this important structure in Japanese society as stupid because we all come from cultures where it's different. True. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Four nomikais a month sounds excessive to me, but hey, I'm not a Japanese salaryman, and I'm not making 4 million yen a year. Yeah. It must be nice making 4 million yen a year. That must be really nice. And neither are you, because likely you haven't been told your whole life to fit in. That is true. That goes for everyone in this thread. All the people like, just leave early, lol, are missing all the social cues Japanese society has to not do that. I'm sure I could leave a nomikai early, but almost no one does because that's the expectation. Even I feel the pressure as an American who was told their whole life to stand out, find their own path, and be a leader. I can't imagine what it feels like for someone raised in a system with indoctrination to the opposite mindset. Yeah, actually, I will say, a lot of younger people are waking up from this indoctrination. Like, I had a coworker who hated the company. Like, we share the same sentiments. And she quit after like less than a year. She quit after like 7 months. But it took me and another friend to basically like tell her, like, you don't really have to take this. Even though I would tell her, I understand it's Japanese work culture. I get it. If you quit early, you're going to be looked down upon. But I was like, you can't care. You really can't care. It's your mental health. And she was like, that her mental health was deteriorating. And she hasn't been here for less than a year. So the younger generation is waking up, and she quit, and she was like, I feel so free. And I'm like, I bet you do, girl. I bet you do. I'm sorry. I wish I quit. Here's the thing. If I quit my job, I would have 3 months to find another job, which I could definitely do. But that's the thing. I don't want another job because the only other job I could get is teaching. And what I really want to do is this. I want to entertain people. Like, yes, there are a lot of opportunities to entertain. And like over here, actually kind of, maybe not. Like, I'm pretty sure if I got an agent, I'm pretty sure we can make stuff happen. But the thing is, no salary for 3 months is crazy. That will be like the definition of walking by faith, not by sight. And I ain't got that type of faith. So we just gonna stay here where there is stability for now, and just slowly work our way up, build a brand, build a name for ourselves. Because one thing that I can't do is just jump head first into something crazy. Like, I can't do it. I probably could. I'm not gonna do it. That's the thing. I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, just the whole back to the story of like Japanese work culture and just Japanese people having to fit in versus the whole hyper independent mindset of Americans and Western culture. I swear, whenever I talk about cultures between Japan and America, or just Western in general, everything is the complete extreme opposite. Americans are hyper individualistic, and Japanese people are hyper community based, which I love. I love the fact that they're community based. But at the same time, it's detrimental because you got these things like nomikais, and if you're not even a drinker, you still have to be there. If you're tired, you still have to be there. There's this thing called a hone tatemae, and it's basically like you wear a mask, and what you feel is just pushed deep down inside, and you don't express how you feel. So that's why, like, my coworkers, I don't really hear them complaining. My Japanese coworkers, I rarely hear them complaining. If they complain, they might just say like, "Oh, otsukareta." It's basically, I'm tired. And that's the most. Me and my Western coworkers, the British people I work with, fellow Americans I work with, oh my God, can you believe such and such did this? Can you believe they did this at the top? Can you believe that? Oh, they're some fucking a-holes or whatever. Like, they just don't get it. We are like complaining up a storm. And whenever a Japanese coworker complains mildly, they apologize. And I'm like, you don't gotta apologize, Craig. Like, we get it. But that's just the difference. They push it down. And But I also think that's the reason why they're, well, let me not speak on this because I don't know. I haven't actually looked up the suicide rates. But I will say the trains are late a lot because of human contact. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I digress. Last couple paragraphs from this same comment. Maybe the husband feels so much pressure to get promoted to secure a higher salary, and that's why he's pushing himself really hard in these. Maybe he drinks too much to try to get away from the pressure. Maybe the number of nomikais is excessive. Maybe he should push back. I don't know. But I doubt the answer here lies in Reddit from a Western perspective, where everyone thinks nomikais are stupid because it's not what they did in their culture. Okay, yeah, I get this comment. I really do. But also, the answer isn't gonna lie in even from a Japanese perspective, because they're just gonna tell her to shogunai desho, shogunai desu ne. It is what it is. It can't be helped. So when something cannot be helped, what are you gonna do? Nothing. You're just gonna continue to go about your life. And I'm pretty sure that's the best advice I can give her is shogunai, unfortunately. Because her husband ain't changing. Hopefully he got this promotion, you know. So OP replied to that comment. I appreciate your perspective. It gives me something to think about. I'm wanting more balance, but I also want to do it in a way that works for both of us. So thank you. OP is really kind. So for some reason, I got more comments, screenshots than the last one. So someone says, I'll give you one piece of advice that I received from a friend. When you live with someone, you don't always see all of the effort they're putting in, but you see all of the effort you're putting in. It cuts both ways. It's hard to use empathy, but I think it's always worth considering. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. My wife just got back from a nomikai, throwing up and everything. I cleaned her up, called a taxi, made her a nice glass of tea, and tucked her into bed. Maybe she shouldn't have drank so much. Maybe she shouldn't have gone to the second nomikai after the first one ended. All I know is that I have two choices. I can love her or I can judge her. That is such a sweet comment. That is such a sweet comment. Yeah, you gotta love them where they are. Another comment. I think it all boils down to empathy and consideration towards your partner. I think they're just piggybacking off what the other one just said. It goes both ways, of course, and that's exactly what you are doing for her. That's what most people miss or tend to forget. My Japanese fiance knows my concern about his health, so he avoids binge drinking and limits his participation without any bad outcomes to his career. That was a glitch. Okay, so someone says, I agree with your take on the cultural nuance here. The pressure to participate is very real, but I'd argue against the idea that we can only love or judge. To me, that's a false dichotomy. We can love the person while still judging the behavior as problematic. True. If the OP never judges and the situation as unfair, nothing changes and she's left carrying the burden alone. Real partnership requires enough love to have those difficult conversations about accountability. So true. This is so nuanced. Well, OP, Shogunai. I really hope the situation worked out. Like, I hope your husband. I was gonna say your cousin. I hope your husband is company is having less nomikais. I also think the number went up because of the holiday season. Low key, there are some nomikais at the beginning of the year. They have first year, end of year parties and first year parties. So hopefully he gets that promotion. Hopefully it works out, and hopefully y'all marriage is good. But I don't think there are no updates, so we don't know. All right, moving on to the last story. So this is a little short, and someone basically just asks, in art/Japan life as well, how's your social life going in Japan? So this is also under relationships or relationship advice, I guess. I kind of want to hear about other people's experiences, probably because I don't want to feel like I'm the only one. Lol. LOL. When I first came to Japan, I knew I'd have to put in effort if I wanted to build new relationships. I think it's really easy to isolate yourself here, but even so, man, it's complicated. Not a lie said. Not having past experiences living here makes building organic friendships hard, which is already tricky as an adult anywhere. Mm-hmm. I've tried hobbies, gotten out more, improved my Japanese, and through that, I've made a few Japanese friends, which is cool. But honestly, close friends? Just other internationals. Many of them leave Japan after a couple years, but it's still been worth it. Yeah, I feel that. My personal life right now is pretty good because I belong to an improv group. Um, and I've been a part of it for a few years now. Before that, my social life was pretty much I would hang out with, sometimes limited to people I work with, and that would be during, I know, just had this whole spiel. I don't go out with people I work with. There are a handful of people I fuck with outside of work. A handful of people. And it was only because at work I was like, oh, they pretty cool. I think we could get along outside of work. So that's where that is. That's how we got there. And usually it was either like a random lunch or during a long holiday, like Christmas, New Year. Well, they don't have Christmas break, winter vacation, or Golden Week or Obon Week, which is only 3 long holidays I get a year. Um, so yeah, before joining this improv group, that my work friends, that was it. Work work colleagues and work friends, and that was like a handful. Because like I said, I am an ambivert, which is at work I'm extroverted, but outside of work I'm very introverted. Um, yeah. But now that I'm in improv, at improv I am more extroverted. So I am social like once I go to the club maybe like once a month, sometimes twice depending on if there's a special event. But yeah, I do my little improv comedy thing once a month, and I meet a lot of new people, and I made a lot of cool friends through this. And I've made some really close friendships through improv. So that's me. That's my perspective. Let's look at these comments, see what other people say. So, first comment, honestly, absolute trash. I've made quite a few international friends here with almost zero effort. Same. I've made a number of Japanese acquaintances that I might go out with for lunch, coworkers I might have a beer with, students I've taught who might give me gifts every once in a while, but Japanese friends, not a single one. No matter how much my Japanese improved, I put effort into joining hobbies or just went to any events I could find. Nothing worked. Yeah, honestly, he put in more work than I have. Cause, like I said, I've made some Japanese friends, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I have the same experience. It was this one girl. We pretty much share like the same birthday weekend, or this. Our birthdays are like a couple days apart, she's really cool. She was really cool, and it just always came down to scheduling, like our work schedule. And we hung out a few times, but every time we hung out, the the space between it got greater and greater and greater. And now we just like each other pictures on Insta, which is cool. You know, I ain't upset about that. Like, we still cool, but that's pretty much how all of my friendships with Japanese people start. We start off messaging each other and planning. If we get out of the planning phase and actually meet up, we only meet up a few times. And then it's just back to planning, or, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm too busy. And then that's just it. Me, it's no hard feelings, because it's like, I'd rather be home anyways. I'd rather be at the gym anyway, so it's okay. But yeah, so this person says, my working life was completely fine in Japan, never any issues, but I give up trying to live in this country from a social standpoint. Fuck me for being a dumbass and coming here, I guess. So I'm giving up after 6 years here and going back to Canada. Man, I'm at that 6-year mark, and sometimes I wish I can go back home, but I'm pretty sure you guys know the climate in America right now is ridiculous, so I'm just gonna stick it out here a little bit longer. Okay, so someone says, I moved here because I'm very lazy for social things, and I know that Japanese are too. Japanese people are too. People who expect to build a life here 99% of the time become frustrated when realizing loneliness is real and permanent, even when you're married. That is a hard truth and a hard pill to swallow for some people, especially extroverts. I really feel like a lot of extroverts come here expecting, I'm gonna be friends with so many Japanese people, and some people do. Honestly, my goal or my wish before I leave is to be adopted into a Japanese family and just experience a bunch of traditional stuff. You know, like I want to get enriched in the culture through that way. And my plan is to just meet someone at the bus stop, which has happened so many times. Like I've met someone's grandma, grandpa, and we just chatted it up. But I need it was only like one time things, you know, one time occurrences. And I'm like, I need to see these people again so we can build a rapport so they can adopt me into their family. And then I could just learn about more Japanese stuff. Yes, I know I could do research. I know about all of these like holidays and stuff. And I even get information about my students from my students. But how cool would it be to just have like a Japanese family? Anyways, I digress. We'll see if that happens. I got a couple more years here. So, oh, got a nice long comment here. I'm going to put you on some advice that really changed the way I think about friends in Japan and why I think so many of us end up with no friends. Say Japanese people keep us at arm's length and that it's all good stereotypical gabber. Someone once said, in the West, we make friends with individuals in a group. Like you might go to a bar and make a friend or two, or you vibe with someone at a party and get to know them one-on-one. Yeah, that's pretty much me. The person you sit next to in the class becomes your good friend, and so on. In Japan, you make friends with the group. Oh, okay. Interesting. Since elementary school, you do everything as a class or as a group, right? Sports day is about teamwork rather than who's the fastest or strongest. You go to izakayas as a work group, etc. Once you befriend the group, there might be a friend or two in there, but maybe not. As Westerners, we approach Japanese friendships the wrong way, and that's why we find it so hard to make friends. It's more of thinking of as friends as a group rather than a single person. Interesting perspective. Because it's mostly interesting because every time recently, it's the new year. Obviously, it's the new year. So, like, when I see my students again, oh, how was your holiday? Da da da. And like, I kid you not, if not all were like, oh, I met up with my high school friends. I met up with my elementary school friends. I met up with my junior high school friends. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, a class reunion? It's like, yeah, basically a class reunion. And I'm like, oh, like, and she was like, yeah, we do this like every year or twice a year. Y'all, I don't want to see the people I went to high school with, junior high. Like, okay, let me say that. They're not terrible people. But this is just the introvert in me. I'd rather see them on Facebook. And and to me, I guess it's wild because that's what Facebook is for. But here, they stay friends with those same people. Like, I cannot imagine going out for lunch with my elementary school friends. I have my high school friends, of course, but the whole class, no. Like, I was cool with everybody, but it's only like a certain amount of people who I'm like actually friends with, and that's the situation in America. But here, it's like they were friends with the entire class, and I'm like, nah. It's interesting, very interesting. So, someone replied, to me, a friend is someone I can talk about to my successes and low points. Someone I can count on when I really need help. A collective of people is fun to be a part of and satisfies some of my social needs, but I don't think it's a substitute for an actual friend. I think that's exactly what I was trying to say without saying it, without trying to stay respectful, because too many people is just overstimulating for me. A group of friends is overstimulating for me. No, actually, that is true. These statements are true that I'm making. Back in high school, I had a group of friends that wasn't overstimulating, but I also it was fine, But now as an adult, if I hang out with a large group of people, I easily get overstimulated. Yeah, that's pretty much what it boils down to. But let me see, I think that's the last. No, we got one more comment. Oh, okay, last comment. So this is someone's perspective on social life. So, this person says how their social life is going in Japan. They say, awesome, but I live in Tokyo, so it's pretty easy to make friends here. We have a nice big family of close friends, about 40 of us now. 40 people as a close friend. 40 people sounds crazy. But, again, I now understand that people make friends in a group. I don't think I could ever make a big group. A group of 40 is crazy to me. So about 40 of us now, way more if you include extended family. We all get together for Christmas, potluck, New Year's, birthdays, etc. Big barbecue parties or house parties, etc. Whenever myself or one of us DJ or play a live show with our band or something, we got a squad of us rolling through, supporting each other. That's what's up. That's really what's up. I love that for them. Usually on the weekends, I have a handful of friends over to hang out low-key, eat, play video games or something casual. Sometimes we just smoke and listen to music. Can honestly say I've met some of the best people here, people who I'm lucky to call my family. That's what's up. My wife and I are both foreigners, so we had absolutely no base here when we moved here 10 years ago. They've been here 10 years in the game, so that makes sense. So someone says, replies to that, I'm glad to see someone with a blooming social life whose partner is also a foreigner. Every time someone makes a post like OP, the comments say, I have a great social life, are men married to Japanese women. Pretty much. Yeah, of course your social life will be better with the Japanese partner. Wow, so that's very eye-opening. This kind of this thread is very, very eye-opening for me, especially when it comes to like being social here, which explains why many people are lonely. It explains it. I just want to say I am so happy. I just inherently like to be alone. I love my own company. And whenever I need to be social, I am so grateful for my improv group. I love it's a big group now, and I love them. I do love them like family. So I'm grateful I have that. But I can only see them once a month, which I love. If I wanted to, I could see them twice a month, but once is enough for me. So yeah, very interesting. Like going back to everything, I feel like is the extreme opposite from America. Like just from between work culture and social culture, complete opposite. Anyways, so that wraps up this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Mite kurete arigatou gozaimasu. Bye.